just have to remember that rhyme I taught Bill. Good thing I wrote it down in my journal. I should have this open in no time. It's just like the rhyme. Learned it by heart as a tyke and scribbled it down for posterity. I should have this open in no time. It's just learned it by heart. I should have this open in no time. Learned it by heart as a tyke. I should have this open and learned it by heart as a... I should have this open, learned it by heart as a tyke and scribbled it down for posterity. I should have this open in no time. It's just like the rhyme. Learned. I should have this learned it. Help. Fantastic. That could be a good spot to stash something. Absolutely nothing. Are these lucky horseshoes? If so, they didn't work. Doesn't look too comfortable. Nothing here. The mirror's broken. Wonder who caught the bad luck. Seems the obvious place to keep valuables. Well now, what have we here? Got what I came for. Best not to stick around. Hey, kid.
Yeah?
Here's your watch back.
No fooling. You actually got it?
They didn't used to call me Housebreaker Harley for nothing.
Hey, I'm impressed.
Anyways, that's my part of the bargain held up. You gonna let me in now?
Sure, go on. Oh, and thanks. I know we've had our tiffs, but I really do appreciate you getting this for me. My dear departed pa can rest easy again knowing his watch is back where it belongs.
That's not your watch at all, is it?
Well, it is now.
Kid, if I were you, I'd make myself scarce. Otherwise, the only way you'll be able to tell the time on that thing is by squatting over a mirror. You get me?
Yes, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, are you ready for some thrills? Are you ready for some excitement? Are you ready for some fun?
Woohoo! Yeah!
Without further ado, now present the star of our show, the last man standing at the Bleachbone Girl Showdown, the only man to defeat Bastard Billy Boakes in a duel, the man who discovered a gentleman, then gifted it to an orphanage, Gentleman Jake Ackerman!
For that wonderful introduction. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gentleman Jake's Wild West. We got a heck of a performance for you today, but first, allow me to introduce my brave and loyal assistant, Danny Luo. Now let's get this show on the road. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you rope a steer. Keep it going, Danny. Maybe you'll lasso yourself one someday.
The sun beat down upon them as the duelists stood and stared. But Billy Boakes had never fought somebody so prepared. Jake drew his gun. And bang! The bastard crashed down with a thud. The legendary foe lay dead, defeated, in the mud.
Yahoo! Get him!
And now for a most challenging proposition, perhaps the greatest feat of marksmanship to which a man can set his sights. You see those 5 juggling balls that Charlie keeps whirling aloft in such a dizzying display? Ladies and gentlemen, affix your eyes on that green ball in particular, and do not dare blink. For with but a single bullet, I will pluck it from the very air. Ladies and gentlemen, is our show. Thank you all so much. You've been a truly magnanimous, magnificent, and majestic audience.
And you can take home a piece of the legend. Come on down to the Jack of Diamonds to get an autograph or a souvenir ferrotype. We'll be there until last call. Stop by and shake hands with Gentleman Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
I'm telling you, Jake, I need that money tonight.
You knew the deal going in, Charlie. There's nothing I can do about it.
We'll see about that.
Hope I'm not interrupting, gentlemen.
My friend here was just saying his farewells. Weren't you, Charlie? Please do pardon that unpleasant display. What can I do for you, my dear?
Name's Harley Leger. I'd like to interview you for the Rosewater Post.
Well, shucks, it would be my pleasure, Miss Leger. Shall we go upstairs to my room? Beats standing out here in the dust.
Lead on.
Miss Leger, permit me to introduce my associate, Danny Luo.
We've met, actually. Not formally, I suppose. Nice to properly make your acquaintance, Miss Leger.
Likewise, Mr. Luo.
Please, you can call me Danny. Everybody does.
So what did you think of the show? Pretty spectacular, huh?
Spectacular. It was amazing.
Well, shucks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Shall we proceed with the interview?
Right. So who is the real Gentleman Jake?
Mercy me. That's a hell of a question. Now, I ain't much for philosophizing, Miss Leger, so I'll just say this. In my case, what you see is what you get.
I see. Well, okay then. How did you come to pick Rosewater as your latest venue?
Simple. Plenty of folk in this town are looking for a good show. I ain't so hoity-toity as to think El Presidio or Los Virgenes are the only places worth visiting. After spending all day bent double over a pan in a creek or working his keister off down in a mine, a man is entitled to some amusement, wouldn't you say?
You're clearly a man of great deeds. Which would you say has been your greatest?
I value all my accomplishments equally, Miss Leger. To single any one out would diminish the others. I couldn't bring myself to do that.
What a noble sentiment.
I like to think so.
Is there anything that frightens the mighty Gentleman Jake?
You know, somebody once told me, fear is only as deep as the mind allows. When you deal with the type of folks out on the frontier that I do, marauders, bandits, desperados, your fears have got to be shallow. Otherwise, you won't last 2 seconds.
Hey, Jake, don't you have an appointment with Miss Sally this evening?
Damn, you're right. Sorry to cut things short, Miss Leger. I've got another engagement I need to prepare for.
I should have plenty for my article. I appreciate your time.
Well, I look forward to reading your story in the next edition. Danny, see the lady out, would you?
Good meeting you, Danny. Guess I'll see you around. Not to worry, gents. Jake's all yours. Hey, you were in the show. Nice juggling.
Thank you, ma'am. Jake, get your ass out here right now, you four-flusher.
Now, what's all the ruckus?
Don't play the fool with me, Ackerman. You know damn well why I'm here. You might think you can give me the runaround, but I wonder if my friends here won't convince you to pay up.
Charlie. Didn't anybody ever tell you only cowards get others to solve their problems for them?
You slum-guzzling bastard. I'm gonna fix that wobbling jaw of yours.
Come on up here, then.
Are you sure you won't reconsider, Charlie?
Shut the hell up and get out of my way. McGuire, take care of the kid. Let's dance, cowboy.
I suggest you clear out while you can, little lady. This could get ugly.
From where I'm standing, it's pretty damn ugly already. Hey!
So that's how you want it, huh? Fine. I'll let the boss deal with you when he's done. We can do this all day.
You're in my way, you lummox.
And that's where I'm staying.
Food delivery for the lazy.
Knock his block off.
Huh. Bollingworth Ale. Didn't know they got that out here.
Hey! Don't start any trouble, lady. Hey! Don't start any trouble, lady.
You call that a right hook?
Hey! Don't start any trouble, lady.
I'd better do something to stop these fools.
Hey! Don't start any trouble, lady. Oh, no, you're not getting away that easy.
Nice dodge!
Go on, get him!
Watch that left jab. Watch that left jab. Hey, pick on someone your own size. Get him! I've seen pregnant cows more graceful than you.
Give him
I've seen pregnant cows more graceful than you.
a... We can do this all day. Hey! Don't start any trouble, lady.
Whoopsie daisy. Food delivery for the lazy. Nothing on him but the stench. Sleep tight, chump. I've seen pregnant cows more graceful.
Hey, nice one.
Not the most honorable way of winning a fight, but these boys were hardly playing fair.
Hey, Charlie. Looks like your guys weren't as tough as you hoped.
Whoo-wee! That got the old blood pumping.
You've got some interesting associates, Mr. Ackerman. If you'll excuse me, I have an article to write.
Hang on just a minute. I'd be a fool to just let you walk away after that performance. Come on back up here. I've got a business proposition that may interest you.
What about Miss Sally?
Oh, she can wait. All right, Miss Leger, I won't beat around the bush. Danny and I are looking to get some folks together for a job, and I think you'd make a damn fine addition to the team.
What sort of job?
Ever hear of Dr. Bennett Clark?
No, I don't think I have.
He was the lead scientist researching that ethericity stuff. Before the ban, that is. Dr. Clark moved out here not long after the big disaster back in Lamplight City. He kept up his research, even did some demonstrations at the Opera House. Till one day, he just up and vanished. Nobody's seen hide nor hair of him in nearly a year.
So is he dead or what?
That's the thing. Nobody knows. But the real question is what he left behind. We're going in search of Dr. Clark's fortune.
Come again?
The feller was loaded. Somehow he managed to talk a bunch of big money investors from back east into financing his research. All those gizmos and doodads don't come cheap, you know? We find his stash, we'll all be rolling in it for years to come.
Stash? What stash? Surely it's all just numbers on a ledger somewhere.
Nope, I'm telling you, he kept his assets in cold, hard cash.
So you're looking to rob a man blind just because nobody knows where he is?
Now, nothing so uncouth as that. Picture this, a swashbuckling pirate captain, his vessel freighted with treasure. The vast fleets of law and order circling him, closing in. He digs a hole in the sands of some sun-kissed tropical beach to conceal his ill-gotten loot and makes himself scarce. Circumstance conspires to deprive him of the opportunity to return. Now, he's the brave treasure hunter who seeks and unearths the bounty guilty of robbery? Or is he just returning to the world what would otherwise lie forgotten and worthless? See, we're not after Clark's personal wealth. The money in question was meant to bankroll his etheric research. Since that's been outlawed, he can't touch it. And it's a drop in the ocean for the investors. They'll never miss it.
How many folks are you planning on bringing into this?
That depends on what we find. But I promise you, we'll all get a fair split. Enough to make it all worthwhile.
What's your plan?
Clark had a lab nearby, a couple miles outside of town. Last place anybody saw him. We poke around there, retrace his steps, and it should lead us straight to the loot.
Uh-huh.
Now, call me crazy, but I get the impression you're not entirely convinced.
Truth be told, I'm not. How can you be sure Clark isn't just holed up in some cave with his cash? Or that someone didn't off him so they could claim it for themselves? We follow Clark, and whatever vanished him could end up vanishing us, too.
I admit we're asking you to put a lot of faith in us. Hell, I'd probably be just as incredulous were I in your position.
Mr. Ackerman's a good man, Miss Leger. He's never led me astray in all the time I've known him.
I appreciate it, Danny, but I think Miss Leger's gonna need a little more than just your word. Look, I've known quite a few moneyed folk in my time. They all got one thing in common. You know what that is?
They couldn't give a rat's ass about folks like you and me.
I admit I cannot emphatically contradict you there, but not what I meant.
So what do they have in common?
They're good at keeping their money safe. Clark's cash is out there, I just know it. As far as your safety, you just took out a couple of brutes twice our size. It's plain to see you can take care of yourself.
I'm pretty good with my pistols, and Mr. Ackerman can talk his way out of anything. But we could use somebody who's good in a fight.
Besides, stick around old Jake long enough and you'll have enough material to write a whole book. Forget a measly little write-up in the local rag. I'm offering you a front row seat to a much better show. So, what do you say?
All right, Mr. Ackerman. I'm in. At the very least, this venture should make for an interesting tale.
I'm pleased to hear you say that.
You won't regret this, Miss Leger.
We'll set out for the lab at daybreak. And please, call me Jake.
Dr. Clark's laboratory is a short hike from Rosewater. After getting run out of Lamplight City, this is where he went to ground. A secluded desert facility where he could get up to who knows what. Jake, Danny, and I head there at first light to see what secrets he left behind.
Quite a sight, ain't it?
I'll say. What the hell was Clark doing out here?
That's a question for minds greater than ours, Miss Leger.
Talk.
What's on your mind?
I've got some more questions about you.
I'm always happy to answer.
How'd you and Danny get together?
I was packing up after a run of shows in Quick Point, having a hard time of it. You see, my assistant had up and left a few days prior, so I was flying solo.
Your assistant left? Why?
The showman's life ain't for everybody. I don't fault him for it. Anyhow, Danny comes up and offers to help with the crates. You should have seen him. Eyes wide, hands shaking, downright charming. So Danny gives me a hand and we get to talking. Turns out he's got experience roping and shooting. Even gave me a demonstration. I offered him the job as my assistant on the spot. The rest, as they say, is history.
Would you care to recount some of your previous adventures?
I'd love to, but I'm afraid now just ain't the time. As soon as we have a respite, I'll be glad to regale you.
I'm impressed, Miss Leger. Never thought I'd live to see the day Jake refused to tell his story.
Just how did you come to learn about Clark's money?
Not long ago, I got to talking with a feller at the saloon. The whiskey had loosened his lips and he blabbed all about the success of his Aurum claim. But then he told me about how he'd invested most of that Aurum in Clark's research and how he wasn't the only one.
And you're certain these investors won't be wanting their money back?
Can't speak for the rest, but this feller won't. See, his aforementioned loose lips got him into trouble with some other folk. Poor bastard was shot dead in the street.
I see. Enough jabber. Let's push on. Hey, Danny?
Ma'am?
I want to know something about you, Danny.
Okay. Like what?
You and Jake known each other long?
Gosh, that's a good question. I guess it's been about 2 years?
Sounds about right.
Time goes by quick when you travel around as much as we do.
What did you do before becoming Jake's assistant?
Nothing glamorous. I was a stable hand in Quick Point. Life with Gentleman Jake is certainly more, lively.
Just how old are you anyway?
I'll be 21 this winter, but I can handle myself just fine if that's what you're worried about.
True enough. Danny's more experienced than some folk twice his age. You'd be a fool to underestimate him.
Have you got any family?
Sure. My parents and older brother live on the coast, near El Presidio. I write them every month. I haven't seen them in a dog's age, though. But Jake's been like family to me, really.
We should get a move on. Look sharp, Danny. No telling what we might find out here.
Right you are, Miss Leger.
How are you holding up, Jake?
Oh, just fine, just fine.
Guess it shouldn't come as a surprise that the front door is not wide open for us.
That's a serious-looking lock.
Way too complicated for these lockpicks.
So, how are we supposed to get in?
Know if there are any locksmiths in town?
I'd prefer if we handled this ourselves. My old pal Captain Stokes is stationed nearby at Fort Beaumont. He owes me a favor, or two.
Maybe he could give us some high-powered equipment to get inside.
You read my mind, Danny boy. Wouldn't do any harm to take a look around out here first, though.
Locked up tight.
Whoever closed this place up really didn't want anybody getting in.
This is one of the sturdiest locks I've ever seen.
I think we're gonna need to get creative. The fort stockpile might have something that could help.
Wonder if Dr. Clark boarded these up himself. Must take ages for any correspondence to get out here.
Probably beats having to hike into town, though.
Looks like Clark missed his last mail delivery. Dr. Clark really liked his sarsaparilla. There must be at least 30 empty bottles in these crates.
I once drank 10 bottles of sarsaparilla for a bet.
Did you win?
Well, yes, and no.
Doing some tidying, are we?
We might find some use for these. Come help me. I can't carry them all myself.
Hey, I ain't gonna start belly aching if you want to go around collecting refuse. Might fetch us a few shillings if we sell them back at the Jack of Diamonds.
There you go. And some for you.
Thanks.
Dr. Clark really liked his sarsaparilla. The good doctor was pretty self-sufficient out here. Seems to be from another scientist.
February 12th, 1850. Dr. Clark, I hope this letter finds you well. Upon hearing news of the reactionary and ignorant ban our leaders have seen fit to impose, my thoughts went to you and your thankless labors in the wilderness. When they hounded you out after the expo, and I wouldn't be surprised if Leroy's cronies sabotaged your display to discredit you, you were undaunted. After enduring such a trying year, I know how much building that lab out there meant to you. The turning point in your fortunes, or so it seemed. Yet I am sure you will persevere once more. One day when rationality again prevails in the halls of government and this silly thing is lifted, I hope to take you up on your offer of a tour. If you've returned to the bosom of civilization by then, all the better. With warm regards, Dr. Roderick Nethersole. P.S. How you managed to rig a TT-180 console to control both your equipment and door mechanisms still baffles me. Mine is destined for the scrapyard.
Empty sarsaparilla bottles. No use. This lock is way too complicated.
I think we're gonna need to get creative. The fort stockpile might have something that could help.